Roland, can you make me a co-host, please?
And what do I do? Your picture?
No, go down to, well, I don't know if you can do it there or not, but otherwise it's under participants.
Okay, let me go to participants.
Go to my name and then hit more. Sorry, I should have asked you before.
Make co-host, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Who else wants to comment on Chicago?
Roland, this is Marion. I have to say that I absolutely love that book. When we had all of our growth back in whatever I want to say, in the 80s, I guess, or something like that, we were introducing the business, and it seemed like that, through the years, I kind of got away from that. And it was introducing with the product, and then we moved on. But now this is a fabulous, incredible way to introduce the business to them. And I remember something that was always said, that you introduce them with the business, with the book, and then when they maybe they aren't interested in the business, but they'll maybe use the product. And many times that happened, way back. And I've still got some of those people. One of those people is my Ray, he's a $1,200 a month user. He's in a bad accident, and I mean he's just wonderful. But we'd introduced him with the business, and then he got on the products, but eventually did not build a business. But now I think that book is just absolutely incredible. I got it all read.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. Yes, I'm hearing incredibly great, wonderful comments about the book, which helps me better understand the value and also how to get it out. So that's very good. Other comments on Chicago?
Roland?
Yeah.
This PJ, I have a comment. I'm reading the book. I'm on page 50. I've had to put Dale in the hospital again, so I'm kind of trying to do it, flying around reading the book as I can. One of the things I think this book does for us is it professionalizes the network marketing industry. A lot of people that aren't familiar with and have heard the myths about network marketing feel like it's like a fly-by-night type of company, but this shows so clearly how it is the best option for an income-producing model for those who are willing to work. And I like that he doesn't say it's something for the slackers. If we want to be a slacker, we can't expect a lot of success. And he's upfront about that, but if we're disciplined, and it spoke to me, some of the things I need to be, if we're disciplined and we're vision oriented, and we'll get out there and we'll talk to the people, that this thing can really work. But there's only like 5% of the people willing to do that. And so I'm feeling inspired to be part of that 5% that will do that and put forth the extra effort.
Very good. Thank you, PJ.
Welcome.
Karen, any comments? You know how to unmute yourself on the lower left side of the screen. There's a little picture of a microphone. Okay. All right. Anybody else that was in Chicago want to make comments on it? PJ, you're talking about that 5%, and Richard refers to the 5%, and also at one point he refers to the 5 to 10%. I went on the internet and I checked how many new businesses are started every year. And it's about 462,000. 90% of them will fail. And I thought, my goodness, people are willing to spend a lot of money, maybe for a franchise, starting their own company. They spend a lot of money, and the failure rate of 90%. And here we've got an opportunity. Yes, not everybody's going to do what is necessary, but they're not out $200,000, $300,000, $400,000. You know, I mean, it's amazing. And when you get into another business, you can't focus on maybe making an extra $500 a month. That's never going to work. So you must be successful in that business. In Shackley, if someone is not a part of that 5 or 10%, they still can make a nice little income. I mean, it helped me to realize what an opportunity we have. I mean, I would feel bad if I helped 100 people get started in Shackley, and I know that 90% of them are going to end up with a $250,000 debt. I couldn't do that. I just could not do that. But that's what happens. 90% are going to fail. Wow, that just said volumes right there. You figured out how to unmute your line there, Karen?
I had to get out of the meeting and then get back in. I was frozen.
Okay.
One of the things I was listening to or reading, one of the things that says you have to be a major fan, a raving fan of the products. And I think that's a wonderful thing. I don't go out and tell people, I mean, you're not supposed to just foam at the mouth, but I don't blow my own horn often enough. I don't, somebody will say something like that they have this problem and I'll go, oh, okay. And I don't say anything at all. And so I need to find a balance between not foaming at the mouth, but not saying anything. So I'm working on that too.
Okay.
So that's just at the beginning of the book.
Well, I would dare say that Richard would say, to be a raving fan does not mean going out there and blasting it to everybody, but you believe it so much yourself, people can tell that you're a fan of it, but you really don't have to say much. And I believe that's what he would say.
Okay.
That.
That helps.
Yes, Nina.
Something else that I love that they went over several different times, and we've talked about it here as well, is the coordinator. To always be building coordinators. Forget about the director thing. I mean, that's on the way, but your first goal is always coordinator and teaching everybody to get to coordinator instead of to director. I mean, we've talked about that, but the way Faye drew that out, I loved it.
Very good. Very good. And thank you, Nina, for helping me via Zoom, putting something on YouTube, which I believe has been sent out to everybody, a link where I've done the 8-minute sales plan, 8.5 minutes. So thank you for helping me with that. It's a great asset. Number of things that I've learned in Chicago. I keep learning. Man, I'm just learning a lot of stuff right now. But Mario was a great asset to the meeting. I didn't know he was coming until about 2 days before. In fact, it was the last minute he decided to come. Mario is a professional coach. Mario has worked with Anthony Robbins, and he works with top executives and people from around the world. He's very, very good. And so I asked him at the leadership meeting if he would talk, and I knew it would be good. And he talked for about 45 minutes, and he was very, very good. And what he says is asking people, and he demonstrated it up in front of the room, what do you want in 12 months? And you've heard me say that many times as well. What do you want in 12 months? And talked about that a little bit with the person. And then the next question is, what's holding you back? And she talked about what's holding her back. And he helped her get rid of that. And one of the ways to also get rid of it is to make a very, 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 very strong decision, having a strong, strong goal, then that will override that fear. And many people have a strong one, but they haven't made a decision, as you've heard me say many, many times. But I'm realizing the importance that if people do not acknowledge what's holding them back, and chances are they're going to have to do it with someone else because maybe they don't even see it themselves, that they could be talking too much, or they have a guilt fear or something like this that has to be pointed out. If they don't, you're not going to grow. Not very much. And we all have hang-ups, and we got to be willing to admit it. We've got to be willing to admit it. Well, I tell you, being raised on a farm and no money, and heard that people who make a lot of money can't be very good. I've had a lot of tapes that I really, really had to work on and still work on today. Work on them all the time. So I understand we all have hang-ups. But I learned of one while I was in Chicago that I'm realizing is probably a problem for a lot of people. I asked this lady, I said, what do you want to do in 12 months? And she said she wanted to be at a certain point. We talked about it a little bit. And I said, what will it look like in terms of an income and so on? And I said, what's going to hold you up? What do you want? And she listed all the different things that she would do. I asked her what she would do with the money, and she listed off the different charities to her church, this and this and this. And she never said one thing about what she would do for herself. I'm really picking up on that now. And I said, would you be able to walk into a store and you see something that you really like, and it may cost a little bit of money, and it's just for you, would you be able to do that? And she shook her head no and started crying. All out of guilt of doing things for oneself. Probably she's the same type of person that if you say your hair really looks nice, she's going to say, oh, thanks, but not really. Cannot accept things good. In other words, there are a number of people in Shackley who are great givers, and it's wonderful to be a giver. And it's not an oxymoron here, but if we can't do things for ourselves, we definitely will have a hard time looking past the great opportunity. And that's why you find some people who do better in Shackley for a period of time, and then they kill it for a few months, and then they do better again, then they kill it, then they do better, and then they kill it. Because we don't want to have too much because we're going to feel guilty. And especially in the network marketing business. If I'm selling houses and make a lot, that's okay. Or I have a manual job and I work overtime, that's okay. But to be in this business where it can just really multiply, boy, I feel so bad making that money. And I realize there are a lot of people who have a guilt about making extra money and doing things for themselves. So I'm listening for that even more. Because the point is, as long as we have the barrier, we will not develop much more in Shackley. I don't care how good the things are going to be. We're not going to develop much more. That's the reality. And this is what Mario brought home. That's the second question. If you can't get through that, all the activities in the world aren't going to produce much. So what do you want? Let's talk about it. And what's holding you back? And then once we release that, get rid of it, then we start talking about the next 90 days and the first 10 of the 90 days, and then a few more days after that and so on, until we get to the 89th day, and the 90th day is left open so you can celebrate the success. He just defined it very clearly, which helped me a lot. A lot of the same things that you've heard, things we've talked about, but it defined it very, very well. And Mario is a great coach. And if you want coaching from Mario, it's $3,000 a month. You have 3 30-minute sessions with him during that month. So each session for 30 minutes is $1,000. Do you know the value that you have in helping other people with better health, helping people with this business? But if I've got the block I can show the 8-minute sales plan, but it's not going to come across as well because I'm afraid I can't do it myself. I'm not going to accomplish that. We want to talk on this Zoom about building organizations. I mean, that means helping a lot of people. I see it as helping a lot of kids with ADD. That's really the first thing that comes to my mind. Helping a lot of kids. And I'm talking about 20 directors in your group. Why are we afraid to advance? And the bottom line is we've got the block and we become very self-centered and focused because then it's all about me. And people say, oh, I just want to help other people. I want to help a lot of other people to better health. No, it's all about me because I'm afraid to advance because of what other people say. I want to be realistic. I want to just take care of my needs. Like I talked to a young guy at the PMB in New Hampshire, and he said, I don't need much. Well, he's living at home. Sure, he doesn't need much. It's all relative. He moves out, he gets his own apartment, he's going to need more. But we're embarrassed to go beyond our needs. I think it's a big problem for a lot of us because we've been focusing on the necessities. We talk about the necessities. If you were born in royalty in England, your needs would be different. There you must find a new butler. There you must find somebody to replace the guy who washes the cars, so you make certain that the Rolls Royce is cleaned up before you leave this afternoon. The needs are totally different. I can talk to the guy standing on the street corner with a sign saying I'm homeless. He's looking for a good cardboard box tonight. That's what he needs. And maybe tomorrow he'll find somebody that left a jacket someplace. So when the weather gets colder in the fall, he's got the jacket. It's totally irrelevant. The needs vary all around the world. Somebody says we need to find some wood for some fire tonight to cook our food. And we got to find some animals. We got to find some food. That's what we need for tonight. And so we must change the talk. We must change how we're thinking. Otherwise, all these wonderful things that are going to happen in Shackley, we'll miss it, and we will not be able to help a lot of other people because we've got a hang up. On Thursday, we're talking to Richard, a few of him, because we're going to be planning some things in the very near future with Richard. He says that by August, we're going to have things really on fire in this business. I'm saying next year, but he says by August, and we're going to be planning things that he's going to do to help people to really, really, really expand the thinking. But if I've got the block, I can't see it. It's just like if you have glasses on and the glasses are really, really, really dirty, I can say, can you see those beautiful plants over there? No, you can't help other people to see the plants either. You see those trees, how beautiful they are? No, I can't see it because it's just cloudy. And as long as it's cloudy, I don't see opportunities. So this is where you must talk to someone that can help you, and maybe you can help them with their blocks. But you got to talk to someone because I think so many times we have hidden them so much we don't even realize what they are ourselves. So therefore we can free things up and we can move ahead and be productive and do what we all say we want to do, or many people say they want to do. And this is something I am just going to keep emphasizing. And so when people say I want to grow in Shackley, I'm going to ask the question, which I've always asked, where are you going to be in 12 months? We'll talk about it. But then I'm going to ask the question, what is the block? And as long as there is a block, it will not happen. So the block could be the relative who says you're stupid for being in this business, and they don't even realize that how that has affected them for 15 years. They don't even realize. They haven't even talked to the relative in 15 years. Some people are blocked because they're still trying to prove to their deceased parents that they can do it. We all have these things. Nina, you wanted to say something?
Or your ex. I just want to share that last week after the call, I think you probably got that while we were on the call, that I'm like, okay, we all got blocks, right? So I called Roland and I said to him, help me figure out what I'm afraid of. And so he started asking me these questions that he was talking about now. And I'm one of the first things I think I said to him was, well, I don't need any more money for me because I'm living fine. And I said, but what I want is to be able to donate like 90% of my income, which means I need to make more. And I came up with all these different things. And he said to me, why don't you need any more? Everything you said was about everybody else. There was nothing you said that was for you. And that took me back at first. And I thought, well, no, because I don't think I need anything more. And then he gave me some other insight about every time that I was successful in the past, that my ex and I would fight. And so I would come back down. And then I'd become successful again, and then we'd have a big fight, and I would come back down. And that I associated fear with success because every time I would become successful, I stopped. Every time I'd have big growth, I would stop. And that has been such an eye-opener to me. And since our conversation, I've come up with a lot of stuff that I would like to do. Not that I'll do it all by myself, but, you know, it's amazing how stuff from the past that you have no idea. I thought I was all through that garbage from the past. I thought I'd work through it, but I just found something else that I had to break through. So I just want to say thank you for that, because I was totally like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I figure out why I won't go? So I wanted to share that.
Thank you, Nina, for opening up in front of everybody about that. That takes a lot of courage, and I really appreciate it. And do you feel that you can now see Master Coordinator better since we talked?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. The stuff that's going through my head now, it's like, where's that coming from? Where's that coming from? You know, and I mean, the next day, or what day, I don't even know what day we're on anymore, but I think it was yesterday, I went and I became a chamber ambassador because I thought, okay, I need to find some new people that are, I want people who are already successful in whatever their career is. So I became a chamber ambassador, and that's going to connect me with a bunch of different people who are in successful places in their businesses. So, yeah.
Congratulations. I have all the confidence in the world since we've talked that you will be a Master Coordinator, because what was blocking is gone, and now we can just keep reinforcing where we're going, which keeps that block, which we'll always try to hang around, but we'll keep it out of sight.
Yeah. Keep asking me what I need, or no, not what I need, what I want.
Uh-huh. Very good, very good. Well, you know, something else that came out of Chicago, which was so good, we asked the question of the leaders, what was it like in the 70s when things were really, really growing? And there's some basic things that came out of that. One is people were doing in-home meetings. And many people were doing 3 a week. 3 a week. And would it be worth it to do 3 a week, say for a year and a half, and have an income that's paying you $70,000 a year? That's about, definitely people should be able to do that. And the business, because of the way it's structured and because of what you're doing and so on, you should continue to have your income increase even if you're not working at it very much. And would it be worth it? And that income, of course, is equivalent to about $90,000 in a job outside the home where you don't get the tax benefits. Would it be worth it? 3 meetings a week. And that's one of the things that came out. The other thing is our expectations were very high. People could see an in-home meeting, just as in another Zoom I was on a couple minutes ago. And the lady is looking at, she's moving ahead, going to get the book to somebody. She's gone over the 8-minute sales plan. The person really liked it. They're interested. and they're looking at meeting with that person maybe 5 or 6 times before they really get into let's move ahead. And I said, is the person wanting to move ahead? Yes, they are. Okay, so you've met with them twice already. So the next thing is, to me, set up an in-home meeting. Are they in the geographical area? Yes. And set it up. Not expecting them to make a commitment, because if they don't like the in-home, then they don't have to go any further. But get that thing going, because maybe there are going to be some people there who do want to do Shackley. You know, you don't know. But that's the other thing. People who are not doing in-homes are not growing. It's just not happening. And so therefore, I want to have high expectations for people. It used to be that people would come in, see a skincare, and then they would do skincares. They would do it. So the expectations were much, much higher. And of course, the other thing is people were all dreaming. The meeting after the meeting was phenomenal every time, because people were talking about the dreams. And people are not dreaming. They want to get right into, okay, how do you follow up with somebody? And that's okay to ask that question, but they're not getting into what would happen if. What do you think would happen if I do 3 in-homes a week, and the average amount of products sold is 450 within a week, and I do 3 a week for 1 month? Ooh, that's about 4,000 volume or more. Oh. And of course, the Burks talked about everybody that came into Shackley, 5,000 was the target. And that's why they had 50% of their organization over 5,000 volume. 50%. It's the talk, it's the thinking. And so I have
3
set
in-homes a week, Roland, at 450 is 5,400.
Isn't that amazing?
That's how everybody had 5,000 PVs.
That's amazing.
Yes.
3 a week, and you're at an income of over 24,000 a year in 1 month. Wow. I mean, it's incredible, and people have not put out $250,000 to do this. Do we start seeing the value? You know, if we have the blocks, we're not going to see the value of what we have. I have some serious goals. I've had goals in what can be done in the organization, and so I couldn't work on everything at one time, in my estimation. Maybe that was a block. But now I'm going to develop 3 more first-level sales leaders in the next 12 months. And I can see how I can do it with the book, getting the book out to people already in the group. Plus, I'm going to be getting the book out to people I don't know and people who are just perhaps interested in looking at Shackley. But the first thing I did, I made a list of people who've been ordering products, and I said, I'm going to call those people and see if they'll read the book. Well, I called the first one, a person I never talked to before. They're a customer. Thanked them for their orders, congratulated them, talking about where they lived, how long they lived in the area. We just chit-chatted first a little bit. And then I asked if she would like to read the book that helps to better understand the industry that we're in. And it was just very nice. And she said, I just wouldn't want to take time right now because I'm dealing with my 90-year-old mother and just a lot of things going on, but I really appreciate it. Well, it was a plus all the way around because I got to talk to somebody I've never talked to before and thank them. That's always good. But if I'm open and made a decision for success, I'll get very creative. And a gut level feeling happened at that time that said, I'm not going to do that anymore. Because I think some people are going to start feeling guilty about getting the book. They know that you sent it, so there's postage involved, and they're going to give a reason why they can't read the book. It's just, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't want to, once people say no to the book, I can't send them the book. And so what I've decided is to follow the success of the guy that Richard Book is talking about, 22 years of age, whereas now in 2016, he made $1 million a year. Then the next year it went to $1.5 million. which is an increase of 500,000 in 1 year, $500,000 in 1 year increase in income. And then this next year, 2018, it looks like it's going to be about 700,000 increase in income in 1 year. And what did he do? He got the book out to everybody in his group who had received a commission. And so I'm going to follow that. That's what I'm going to do. And in the front part of the book, there's a very nice place where I can handwrite a message, thanking them for their orders, thanking them for whatever, patting them on the back for something, but asking them, would you read the book? And I'm not thinking at this point, and this is where we'll get better at it, I guess, and figuring out what's really working. I'm not necessarily going to ask for the book back and pay for postage sending it back, because it's $3.75. I thought it could be sent back with library rate, but in the post office they said that no longer applies unless it's going to a library. So it just doesn't work. So that's $3.75 coming back. So what I'm thinking and looking at and picturing is that they get the book, and I'm going to ask, I'd like to check back with you because this is a new book or something. So in a sense, I'm asking for permission to check with them and talk with them about it. And then, depending on what is being said, I may give them an incentive with product or something if they get the book out to somebody else. And chances are the person they get the book out to, I'll never get the book to. I don't know them. So I don't know. These are things that I'm working on, but I believe gut level feeling is that I'm not going to call people to see if they want the book. It just, I just see too many things that may not work. So I'm going to follow success, where this guy got the book out, put a personal note in, handwritten note, and I'm going to get 3 directors out of the current group. First level. Now's the time to do that. The other thing is I'm going to find out as best as possible what everybody in the group is projecting to do in the next 12 months. And I'm also going to ask the question, what's holding you back? What is the fear? Because if the fear is holding back and people don't want to talk about it, that's fine. And I'm not going to push anybody into talking about it. But everybody has a hold up, and especially if we've been in a rut for many years. A new person coming into Shackley is generally not in the rut. They may have some doubt about things, but they're not in a rut. But if we've been at the same place for a number of years, then we're probably in a rut, and we have a lot of reasons why we're not growing, or why we can't go to the meeting, or why we can't have meetings, why we can't do various things. And so it's even more important to get out of the rut is to see what's holding us back. And so I would like to find out from people if they really plan on having a strong decision, if they're looking at building an organization. And that's, whatever it is, it's fine. But I just want to know so I can start calculating and knowing where to work and who to work with. If a person is looking at becoming a coordinator, if you're a director, you're looking at becoming a coordinator, that's fantastic. And I believe if you're going to show the 8-minute sales plan, you better believe in becoming a coordinator. Because if you don't believe it, it's going to come across when you do the plan that I don't think I can do it, but I hope you can do it. So it's all about the feelings that people pick up. So those are my goals. Those are things that I'm looking at. So I'm going to be talking to people and asking what they're projecting for their business in the next 12 months. And do you feel there's anything holding you back from doing that? And finding out if people want to start building an organization, or if they already have a number of people, how are they going to add 20 or 30 to their recap in a year? That's what happened in the 70s when people had a dream, and a dream, and they were out there doing in-home presentations, and they were making decisions. And so that's what I'm going to be doing. Those are my plans, my basic plans, to find out so I can start projecting, so I can get the vision as to what the group is going to look like 12 months from now. And you know, we've got great tools. Zoom is a great tool, so we can talk to all of you. It's a great tool. But I'm finding that people who use webinars as an example generally don't grow. They may maintain their business, but they don't grow. There's something about getting people together where we can laugh and have a good time and talk and learn from each other. There's just something about it that works. You know, a lot of people go to church every week. They could probably hear some stuff on Zoom or YouTube, but they generally mix with other people. How would it be if you're going to have an incredible, incredible, wonderful party? I mean, there's going to be a great party. And you tell all your friends, you know, we got about 30 people that are looking to be involved in this party, and we're going to do it on Zoom. People want to get together with other people. And so, therefore, the Zoom is a tool. It's an asset that can help immensely, and other tools as well. But when it comes to building a business, the other question is, are you going to do in-home presentations? If not, there isn't going to be much growth. You're not going to build an organization. So it may be somebody in their group who's willing to do in-home presentations, but they're not going to have the growth unless people in their group do these basic things. Questions or comments on this?
I maybe talk too much. Maybe you can practice on me for the group, because I want to see how this is done. I know two things that are holding me back, and they keep coming up, and I need to get past them, and I want to, but I don't know exactly how to. I have two basic fears with growth, and one of them is that I'm not organized enough for the growth, that I'm a little scattered, and I can just see myself becoming more scattered, and that's kind of the wrong mindset there. Another thing is I have, counting the steps, I have 6 kids, 14 grandkids, 8 great-grandkids, and the great-grandkids are all steps. But anyway, I have a secret fear, and I have a almost 94-year-old father-in-law living with me who's now in the hospital, but I'm his caretaker. And I have a secret fear that concerning time, that it's going to require so much time, it's going to take me away from those relationships that are so important to me, and building those relationships, and then also taking care of Dale in his later years. So the time is the fear of time, it taking the time that I need other places, and that I'm not organized enough. So help me through that.
Well, thank you, PJ, for going over those things. What I'd prefer to do, if you choose, is to talk with you personally and with your upline if you want your upline, because we've got to get into some stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just better if we do it on an individual basis, but I really appreciate you putting that out there. And there are a number of things that come to mind in terms of time and so on that can help us to better understand how we can do well if we have clarity and focus, and we'll be working smarter. Mm-hmm. So many people, they think of time based on the more you do, the more time it's going to take, and we focus on all the different activities and so on, and we never think of building leaders that can help. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's one of the big things that happens. And the other thing, as I've told everybody in the past, is we must put in time that we're not going to do anything. Like today, I didn't do any phone calls. I didn't talk to anybody. I did nothing except this evening. I've already had 2 Zooms. Mm-hmm. But today, I cleaned out my pool. I went swimming. I exercised. And I went for an 1.5-hour motorcycle ride. And you know what that does? That clears your thinking so well. And we think creatively, and I can do better. I feel I can do better on the Zooms because I went for a motorcycle ride. So it's quality time, and those are things that we can talk about. But thank you. I appreciate it so much that you put that out there. Any other comments or questions? What are you thinking? You can unmute your phone because I'd like to hear what you're thinking. This helps me to better understand, to get better clarity as to what to do. Because the goal is, I want to help all of you do whatever you want to do. And nobody's a bad person if they don't want to build an organization. They're not bad if they don't want to become a coordinator. Nobody's bad. It's just all I want to do is find out what you're thinking and what you want to do. Marion, you wanted to comment?
Yes, okay. Now let me understand this. You are not going to call these people before anymore. I mean, did I understand that correctly before you send them the book?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
I started calling. I have a whole list of people I was going to call, but I thought, boy, if I get people saying, because they feel guilty about taking the book,
mm-hmm.
you know, and they know I've spent the postage on it. And if they say no, then I'm done with them. And the other thing is, I was talking to the wife, and maybe the husband would think differently.
Right.
So maybe if the book were in their home, he would read it too. But if they say no, it's no.
Now, are you saying the word read or are you saying the word look?
Look at it.
Look at it. Okay. Okay.
I'd like you to look at it, see what you think, and I'd like your opinion. So anyway, many times if we are open to possibilities, we get good gut level feelings. And therefore, I'm not going to practice on any more people doing that to prove I'm right. I just believe I'm right on that. And I'm going to follow the success of this 22-year-old who's now 27, who makes over $2 million a year.
So Roland, what kind of are you going to write in the front of the book? Just roughly.
Well, first of all, I'm going to go to the people who are using product, and I'm going to thank them for being a good user of Shackley. I really, really appreciate it. And there's this new book out that helps to explain the industry we're in, and I'd really like your opinion. So if it's okay, I'd like to give you a call after you've had a chance to read it and hear what you think after you look at it.
So that's what you'll be writing in the front of every one of those
So
books.
there's always going to be a compliment.
Say what?
Find some way to compliment, but basically if they're ordering product, that's the easiest thing to do.
Okay. So I'd like to hear your opinion. Is that what you'll put?
Yeah, I'd like to know your opinion.
Okay.
So if it's okay, I'd like to check with you to get your opinion. So even though I'm not talking to them personally at that time, obviously when I'm writing in the book, it's much better to say, I'd like to get your opinion if it's okay, than to say, I'll give you a call, find out what you think. It just registers differently.
Okay.
So I'm going to work on a couple of different things, but I feel the easiest thing to thank them for is the use of the products. And if it's somebody I've talked to, I just will thank them for great talking to you the other day, and I want to thank you for using Shackley for so many years.
What if it's a reverted?
Go into their profile and figure out when they were sponsored.
Okay, what if it's a reverted person who like does everything over the internet now, and your communication basically is either through email or thank yous all the time for their orders?
I'll still give them a call. I'm not going to do text message.
No. I mean, you'll still do the same thing.
Yep, sure.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. And what's so fantastic, in fact, this is from somebody in your group, Nina. I believe I read you the email, which was so good, or the text message. And this is somebody who I believe wants to do something in Shackley. And the comment was, I received my books and halfway through one, all I can say is, wow, in big print. You and the other masters are right. These books are fantastic. I don't know, I know the guy, and you know the guy, of course, Nina, how to get that fantastic message across just talking to him. The book did it.
Yep.
Book did more than I know I could do, because he's thinking, yeah, I've heard you talk, I've heard the story before. But the book did something that I don't believe I would be able to do with him.
Or me. Yeah. And I'm sure they'd agree. They're on here right now.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I have somebody else that I talked to today, and she said to me, I'm highlighting the whole book. This is absolutely amazing. And she's been around for quite a while too.
Yes. You know, Ruth Kuntz, she's so funny. She's very direct and straight, and she's the one who orchestrated everything in Chicago. But she was telling how her brother-in-law poo-poos Shackley, even though his wife, her sister, is a director. And he says, I don't know what you do. Why you going to meetings again? What do you do at all those meetings? Ridiculous. And she says, of course, that's why he and I don't get along very well. But I guess he happened to see the book, and what's that? And she says, oh, it's just a book on the business, whatever. And he says, well, I'm not interested. And she said, okay. And then a little later he picked it up and he started reading the stories in there. And he saw the name Osterhaus, and he said, is there any relation to the kid that's on TV? And she said, yeah. He said, well, I think I'll read the book. You could never, ever get that to happen by talking to somebody who's been so adamant and has a block, obviously, for whatever reason. Doesn't want to eat his words. That's his block. Oh, I'm just hearing wonderful success thinking of people who are now reading the book. Wonderful success. And Steve, you know, we were on another Zoom, and you were talking about showing the 8-minute sales plan. Any comments on that? Steve Burnett?
Start video and start video.
There we go. It took me a minute to unmute. We've been working with the 8-minute sales plan now for a couple of weeks, and getting better with it, but not getting professional with it. Keeping it simple. No, let me reverse that. Being professional with it, but not being slick with it. Okay. And then now we've been able to incorporate the book. We got our books on Friday, and we've got 4. I was thinking it was 4. Actually, it's actually 5 out right now. And with one person we have done the sales plan with in correlation with the book. And this book, the confidence level it gives you, I don't think I've lacked a lot of confidence anyway, but it just takes it up another notch. It's the book, and Richard talked about this. It's having it written in a book makes it valid for some reason. If we were to give this to somebody on a CD or a DVD, it wouldn't be the same. It just wouldn't be the same. And it makes it so easy to either A, do the sales plan, and then if they want more, hand them the book, or someone that seems interested and is willing to look at the book and get back with you in 48 hours, then sit down and do the sales plan with it. It just marries so well.
Thank you, Steve. You know, what I'm picturing, and this is so good to, you know, you make the decision, you start getting all kinds of pictures. What I'm picturing, what would happen if every person coming into Shackley, say even as a customer, they get to see the 8-minute sales plan? Because, you know, I don't know how you try to show the business to somebody or have tried to show the business to somebody brand new because you want them to hear the whole story. I'll be very frank, I'm very awkward at it because They don't understand the concept about network marketing. And that 8-minute sales plan, it just makes it so simple to get them to understand my belief. That's what it all starts with, the belief of Shackley, the philosophy, the belief. I have this belief. And it just makes it so simple. What would happen if everybody coming in, even as a customer, got to see the 8-minute sales plan and then asking them if they'd be interested in reading the book? I mean, we're going to have the opportunity to have 20 and 30 people coming into our business in a month. How are you going to get those people to understand the concept of this business? But if everybody, think of it, everybody saw the 8-minute sales plan, I would dare say there'd be 5 people, many would read the book, but at least 5 people say, I want to do the business. Are you ready for 5 people a month saying, I want to build this thing? I want to build this thing. I mean, we must expand our thinking. These are the things that are going to be there. We're going to have people zooming right up to master coordinator. I mean, all of you that are on, you have the ability to become a coordinator. You have the ability to raise your volume. You have the ability to do all those things. But all of you have the ability to become a master coordinator in a year and a half. I talked to somebody the other day who's a director, and I said, based on everything you're doing, if you're coachable, you can be a key coordinator in the next year, next 12 months. And I believe that. And you say, well, is that really possible? In the 70s, people did that because they had the dream. We're thinking way too small, and the purpose of doing these Zooms is to help you to really understand this thing. It's a done deal. It's happening. I mean, within a matter of 2 weeks, there are going to be 5,000 books out there. There are going to be thousands of people within a matter of a month that will have seen the 8-minute sales plan. 1,000 people. I mean, it's phenomenal what's going to happen. So make a decision and not excuses. Other comments or questions? Because this is where we're going with the Zoom. Because I want to hear your plans, if you want to expose your plans to everybody else. And so we can discuss them, so I can help you save time and be very productive and making certain that you're building the depth and so on. But if we don't have plans and a decision, then there's nothing I can help you with. But this is the direction where we want to go. And of course, you're welcome to be on the Zoom. And if it's not the direction that you want to go, then that's fine. I mean, nobody's bad. Nobody's bad. It's just that I would love to see all of you take advantage of this opportunity if you choose. Probably some changes, definitely some changes will have to come into place. Any questions?
Roland, one of the things I was thinking that I would do, and I would encourage anybody, regardless of where they're at, I'm a master, so I got a story, but everybody's got a story. And so if they would take that and put that down, put their picture on there and just insert that in the book, it personalizes that situation in having them look at the book. And because they'll read your stories. If you're, and because one of the things I want to put in there is why I'm doing Shackley. And I think that's a key point that I would want to cover in that, so that's one of the things that I wanted to do. I don't want to spend a bunch of time on that. I want to get books out, but I wanted to do that one thing.
That is such a fantastic creative idea. With your picture, the stories are supposed to be in third party, and of course you can choose whether you want to put it in third party or not. And they're about 400 words, so we don't make it too long, but we want to get the point across. And put that in the book, in your books that you get out. Boy, that is a phenomenal creative thing. Yes, yes, yes. So good, so good. Okay, so thank you for being on. we're going to be talking about saving time, being productive, building organizations. If anybody wants to give a call and say, can we really talk about the real stuff? I'd be more than willing to do that and happy to do that with you. And at the same time, as I talk to people, I'm going to be asking the question, what are your plans for the next 12 months? So I can start projecting. And of course, this is, if you have directors, if you have people in your group, you want to ask of them. Okay? You want to ask of them what they're thinking and proceed from there. Okay. Thank you for being on. We'll get this sent out to you. It was recorded.
Thank you, Roland.
Roland.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Mhm.
Bye-bye.